Now, now, I want to get to a thing here. This is W77, DAHBOO 77. Now we hear about survivors. Now, something's really not adding up here. I mean, here, this is the
wow. Gotta go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Back up. Get away. Get away. Excuse me. Gotta go.
Galera do céu, vocês não estão entendendo. A loucura que tá isso aqui. E o tanto de peça. Olha lá onde tem fogo ali, ó. Atingiu foi 2 lugares, não foi só um não. Foram vários lugares. Uau.
I guess there's another plane crash because it's a Philadelphia medical plane crash.
You can see chaos on the ground out of nowhere. This is a crazy shot caught off ring cam. Some of the angles of these shots are just pretty wild, man. They're just wild.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. This is also one that shows just how sharp and how quick it came down.
Now, this was a crash near Philadelphia. Another crazy angle of a plane, Learjet plane crash.
Definitely a wild event here with this coming down right here in a populated area with a lot of people witnessing this. The FAA confirming that the plane that crashed in Philadelphia is a Learjet 55. It says here that 2 people were on board, but the FAA later came out. I just got an update before we went live, like I said, and it said that there were 6. They confirmed there were 6 people on board. That around 6.
A Learjet 55 crashed around 6:30 p.m. local time on January 31st. After departing from Northeast Philadelphia Airport, there were 2 people on board. The plane was en route to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri, the FAA and NTSB.
6:30 p.m. departed from the Northeast Philadelphia Airport. The plane was en route to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri. The FAA and NTSB will investigate, and they will provide more updates, and I'll pass them along as I get them. Now, this shows from an aerial, if you're familiar with the area. It shows that.
Are we going to see another 3-plane crash in another 24-hour period? Hope not.
Airport right here. And the impact of the plane. So this was taking off, as I just said, and heading to Missouri, and it came falling out of the sky. So it like just got off the runway, just got up into the air, and came down fast and hard. So that shows you right there the distance. I got all these thoughts running through my head from the other flight, the other crash that we're going to get to next. Going to dive into that, deep dive into that, because that was unfolding as we were live last time. But I've got a bunch of updates and stuff on that, so a rest in peace to the souls lost in this. I had heard there was horrific footage of one of the people that were deceased on top of a car, which I did not receive. Someone just told me that. I didn't ask for it. You can see there from a distance. Same thing. You can see the impact and then the fire. And this is the one that most people saw first, and they were like, "Man, that's a missile," because it came down so fast and at such a crazy angle. But it definitely fell out of the sky hard. There wasn't much time for this flight to do anything. I mean, it just took off from the runway, literally. You can see here is footage spread out all over.
This is what we showed here. That's what he showed. The
here it is from a distance.
This is the that was the impact
from many different angles.
This was the impact point of the Philadelphia plane. Appears to be near a row of houses at 7274 Hanford Street, just southeast of northeast Philadelphia Airport. The crowd is possibly a Learjet 55. Credit the Capitalismo near the location. That's the map there. Hey, darling.
Hey, have you ever thought about getting that checked out? I mean, because I'm worried because I never heard that this bad. You clear your throat a lot. And I know you're not a perp. I don't think you're a perpetrator or a gang stalker. I'm worried about, because I've known you for 5 years. And it's getting real bad. I mean.
Darling?
You know what I'm saying?
Darling.
What?
I'm live.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
It's titled DC Crash has more questions than answers. It's on my
I'm shooting back out. Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Alright.
Bye.
Bye. Now breaking small plane crash outside Roosevelt Mall in Philly. And that question with the cough, I've been thinking about getting it checked out myself. So I will talk to my doctor about getting this thing checked out. So I will do that. Now.
Fox, can I get? Yeah, just go the long way. Just go the long way. All right, brother. All right. Just stay on the other side of this table right here.
No, they're outside. They're outside.
A plane has crashed right off the boulevard at Cottman Avenue. It's on fire. It's not under control. It looks like a side street.
It's outside the Roosevelt Mall in
Police
Philly.
and fire. looks like debris here. I'm in a debris field.
And
The road on the
this
parking
is
lot.
this is
There
the second.
thick smoke and the smell of jet fuel.
This is the second plane crash within 24 hours. Could we see again 3 more planes crashing in 24 hours? They're starting to think the plane was hit by a direct energy weapon. Now, the first crash was near DC airport. That right there need to be looked at as well. The Black Hawk chopper and the other plane collided. One didn't hit the other. It was a collision, you know. So let's.
I'm working. I'm sorry. With Fox. I need to get my. I should have worn a jacket. You're sorry, brother.
Just go down there.
I will. There's pieces of the plane here. We're near Northeast Philly Airport.
The plane's in pieces.
There are lines of police and fire as far as I can see. Black smoke filling the sky over the shopping plaza. It looks like it's on a side street, affected. We're right across from a busy shopping center. Wow, we gotta go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Back up! Get away! Get away! Excuse me? Excuse me? Gotta go! You have to go that way. Gotta go.
Galera do céu, vocês não estão entendendo. A loucura que tá isso aqui. E o tanto de peça. Olha lá onde tem fogo ali, ó. Atingiu foi 2 lugares, não foi só um, não. Foram vários lugares. Uau.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
What's this? Okay. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh my God! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Oh my God!
Patient. Were they landing or taking off? Taking off.
Now, good question. Was it landing or taking off? All of a sudden, it ended up in pieces? That does not make any sense. It's a Philadelphia medical plant. That's probably going to be the second plane crash within 24 hours. Will there be a third one here? I don't know. I can't say. It was headed for Missouri. It was headed for Missouri. And It was headed for Missouri, and it ended up crashing outside the Roosevelt Mall in Philly. And it was a Learjet, a medical Learjet. That would be the second time, because there was 3 other planes that crashed in December. One was in New York, South Korea, and Sweden. Something's wrong here. Something is seriously wrong here, folks.
So, the plane, pieces of the plane are in the Roosevelt Mall parking lot, it looks like, according to police. That's why they're roping that off.
Yeah.
This is as close.
It's close that they can get, man.
Sorry, I'm breathing bad. Flames and black smoke coming over.
You can see there, that's right on the ground. Thank you, what's that there? TNF. Thank you for that super chat. Appreciate it. Oh, man. A lot of people witnessing this one. It's going down right there in the neighborhood. Right outside the airport. Catastrophic. What you're watching here now is a clip of a Black Hawk, and they just rolled this out here just months ago, and it's about being a...
This was a footage, Washington, D.C. mere a month ago. This was a Twitter feed. Sikorsky Flight Field and a AUSA National Convention. Now, the Sikorsky Field is in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and the AUSA National Convention is in Washington, D.C.
able to remote control the Black Hawk, and I just wanted to put it out there and let it be known that yes, they're doing this. This is a real thing. It's not a conspiracy. They put it on display where they could come out and they could load up the chopper with a person in it that needed to be transported, like you just seen, medically, and they could send the chopper off, and it would, like a drone or with AI or whatever, it would come and land at the hospital, shut off, and then they could come running out and get the person out. So they've put on display that they can do this. They can remote control these helicopters, and you can see they're doing it right here, putting it on display. And thank you, Carrie Ray. Welcome to the underground.
Matrix Flight Automotive Autonomy System. That's right. Matrix Flight Autonomy System. What the fuck? Lockheed Martin.
You know, there's a lot of people wondering what happened with this other flight as well. And I'm going to tear into that. Let me go ahead and get this off the screen for now.
Now, in that DC crash, collision, something slipped up where 4 people survived. I want to know where that came from. And if they did survive, Where are they at?
I showed you footage of it and all these different angles. Let me see if there's any on here that sure. No, it looks like we got them all. Now let's go over to the flight radar. And flight radar always has something interesting to tell us. It seems, in these crashes, think of David. So, I just showed you the runway. I showed you it didn't make it far, and it went right down into the neighborhood. That's exactly what you're looking at right here. I'm going to hit play. And
just make sure that the flight radar isn't doctored or fucked with.
Look, this thing didn't make it past the calibrated altitude. Pause it right there. We're at 1575 because it wasn't in the air long. You hit play, you gotta hit pause. Like it went down that quick. Let me back it up. Just here. 11:06 p.m. That's what it's saying. I don't even think it was in the air a minute. I really don't. So it just got in the air. It may have been in the air for like 10 seconds. You could say before this picked it up. See if you get a satellite. Give me a satellite. All right, here we go. Okay, so it picked up a plane. Plane takes off. It's airborne. Obviously, right here where my mouse is, there's a gap. It doesn't pick it up on the flight radar. It starts at like right here.
There's a gap.
Probably a couple hundred feet, 200 feet off the ground. Gets off the ground. It's just starting to get altitude. It should, but it seems like right when it seems to get to a point where it should climb, it drops out. So 15, 16, 1650, 1650, and it goes down. 1650 was our peak. So it made it to 1650 at 218 knots, 238 knots, 242 knots. It was obviously picking up speed. 11:06 p.m. So a minute went by. So, I've ran these things on so many different crashes. Unfortunately, never have I ever seen one this short. This is crazy.
This is just fishy.
When you're at this point, getting off the ground, you're still flipping some switches, talking to the tower, doing things like that.
Someone's saying that they're in Philadelphia, close to Northeast, and all government is there now, and Boulevard Avenue near Northeast is being averted here in Philadelphia.
They only made it to 1650. Now that's what flight radar is reporting here, and the speed, the times, and everything. And it is a Learjet 55.
Bad Pup here says, smells like rituals. Rituals. Samuel Close says, maybe bird strike? Nah. Jeff Poor says they are not stopping at big airliners next. Hidden Tiger, more like many people watch Dabu and no truth hit the. Okay. Okay.
As you can see right there, going from Philadelphia to the Ozarks to
Mayhem betting DW sounds quite plausible. DW is short for Direct Energy Weapons.
Missouri. That unfortunately did not make it. So yeah, a medical aircraft. And yeah, rest in peace to the people that have lost their lives.
Belinda Kruger says every news channel, different story, times, people on board, etc.
In this one here tonight, it's happening more and more. I don't know what the cause is going to end up being. Maybe we end up getting some audio back to the tower, and there's like a last second something over the radio. Just, I don't know. I don't know at this point. All we do know is that it came down. No survivors. And that's the latest. That's as of tonight. That is the Philadelphia medical plane crash. Follow me on X for updates. Kick out a lot of updates, breaking news over there. Make sure you're following me there for updates to all these events and all the breaking news and stuff like that. Exclusive videos and stuff.
TMTT24 Daz, who's a moderator for W77, says, "Bro, I got the ATC chatter clip for you. Can't wait to hear that."
Stuff that you're not going to find on YouTube unless you're catching them here live. So I'm going to keep it pushing. And jump to the other big disaster we just had. This one in D.C. involving a military helicopter in an aircraft, American Airlines flight. And it looks like there's...
Belinda Kruger says, "Who's targeted? Someone in the mall or plane?" Now, unless they were a targeted individual from gang stalking, maybe, because direct energy weapons have been known to go after and hit TIs, which is targeted individuals, but direct energy weapons have been used by the military to also law enforcement to go after protesters, which is like a sonic heating device that they use on protesters and shit, But is it plausible that a DEW could have taken out this plane? It's kind of shaky, but it is very plausible. I mean, it is because you have DEWs, you have we call it. Trying to think here even the Navy has a energy weapon on their ships, but cannot say what kind of weapon or what ship, because even I don't fucking know.
There's been no survivors whatsoever, although initial reports were saying 4 people had survived It wasn't true. Tragically, it looks like no one survived this. And let's look at some of the details that we've got from this. First off, Trump says that the Black Hawk was flying too high, and by a lot. By all accounts, from what I can see and looking into this, that's definitely part of the issue here for sure. It was flying too high right at the gate.
But the question is, who's at fault? The Black Hawk chopper or the plane? I mean, they both collided. I mean, you can't blame one over the other. It's like, you know, could it be an accident? I don't know. Could the Black Hawk helicopter be autonomous, remote controlled, like a drone?
200-foot limit for the choppers. Oh man, I just thought about it. I was racing to get all this. Somebody, one of you guys out there, sent me footage.
Sean Sabat says they took DC off the Google Maps, and now it's just Washington. Google, got somebody playing the door.
Going in landing. Maybe it was the same area. And there were choppers right there, very close to you, out the window. I'm gonna dig it up. I'm gonna have to.
Oh, it goes. Kabuki Theater said John B. Wells got fired from Coast to Coast for uncovering TWA. And we all know what Coast to Coast is. And who founded Coast to Coast? Art Bell. Art Bell. He created Coast to Coast. John B. Wells got fired from Coast to Coast for uncovering TWA 800. Okay, now let's see here. TWA 800. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, let's see here.
It has been almost 17 years since TWA Flight 800 blew up. It had just taken off from Kennedy Airport in New York. All 230 people aboard died. Now a documentary featuring former investigators is raising questions about the official explanation, a fuel tank explosion.
The word was in the press at that time that eyewitnesses had already begun to report smoke trails, corkscrew.
John B. Wells.
The FBI today raised new questions that a missile or some kind of streaking object was seen in the sky at the same time TWA Flight 800 exploded.
We do have some information that there was something in the sky. A number of people have seen it. A number of people have described it very similarly.
The attitude of our senior management was, don't get too involved, the FBI is going to handle it. It's a missile or a bomb, and we're not going to get involved in it.
Our senior correspondent, John Miller, was the first reporter.
Now, this is almost like the Lockerbie in 1986. Lockerbie, Scotland, right? The plane flew over Lockerbie, then all of a sudden, as it was in the air, nobody knows what happened. Lockerbie, right? Some says, oh, it's a missile, it will shut down. Then the CIA said it Just, I mean, also just it was a punctured gas tank or something like that, you know. Front of the plane. The cabin. That left the whole plane without a cabin. All of a sudden, something's wrong here, folks.
On the scene in 1996, he covered the disaster extensively. John, good morning.
Good morning.
So you've seen this documentary. Do you think they raise some new concerns?
I think they raised some old concerns, but I think they've packaged it in a way that's very compelling. Now, Nora, this is one of those documentaries where if you watch the whole thing, you walk away convinced. But if you actually know the whole story, you know that they lined up some very compelling and concerning facts, but they also left out some of the alternative theories and answers to that. So it's going to get a lot of attention.
One of the questions I have about whether there was a missile used is, if there were a missile used, why didn't anyone come forward and claim responsibility?
Well, that's one of the Achilles heels of the missile theory.
Because if it was, it'll be covered up and classified, where you can't talk about it. You gotta lift the rug up and sweep it. Just like the Lockerbie bombing, you know what I'm saying? The Lockerbie plane incident, you know. But they have the plane, they have Flight 800 in a hangar. Can't go in. No. Top secret, classified. Can't look at it, can't see it.
Getting shown on the next train. Because I think I seen the footage. I was like, what?
John B. Wells got fired from coast to coast for uncovering TWA 800. What the fuck?
Wow. I was like, from the airplane taking off, I was like, those helicopters are right there. They weren't that far away. And didn't have this whole situation. So they're saying that it was flying too high. There was up there. Thank you, David, for the coffee. He said, "Yeah," and thank you for the comment. Yeah, it's pretty crazy here.
That's crazy, man.
We had initial reports that the pilot was this Joe Ellis, said to be this transgender individual. I covered this in a video. I put the video out. But this individual was alive. A lot. So, let me go ahead and bring this back up. Make it full screen here.
It shouldn't matter if you're a transgender
See right here.
or what, you know. If you can fly, you can fly as long as you have
This was Joe Ellis.
qualification.
And everyone was saying, I don't know what they were saying. There was all kinds of crap. And I was trying to figure out where it came from. Finally today.
Crazy unseen DC crash into Potomac flight radar path tower audio.
We tracked it back to where it first came from. And he was in damage control mode on his account, trying to save face, trying to cover his tail, but he got smoked. He tried to even blame it on someone else. It's some other account. He was screenshotting, was the first. Like, he went and found them, the first people. It's just like, shut up, dude, you were the first. We asked Grok, and Grok told us it was this person, Matt Wallace, that did it. On X. On his thing, he's in Elon's inner council or some stupid... He's one of those shills. And he tried to erase everything and hide it and act like he never did it and this and that. But even Grok knew. Grok caught him and outed him.
What's Grok? What's grok? Could it be the what is grok?
And he is the one that spread all the information that this Joe Ellis was. It was all politicized, basically. Trying to say some transgender was part of this cult. It was trying to run with some theme, and it wasn't true. When the person popped up alive, that's pretty crazy.
Oh, it is.
You guys didn't see, there was another angle. Of this crash. And I'm going to play this clip so you guys can see all this.
Okay, Bones Jones says Georgia Guidestone built March 22nd, Skull and Bones 322, blow up Independence Day weekend. Holy shit. Now they're showing different angles of both the Black Hawk helicopter and the plane colliding. Yeah, there wasn't no plane hit the chopper hit the plane or plane hit the chopper. It was a collision. It was a near miss. Alton. But it was a hit.
Are off of the ground there. And here.
On 5342 Washington Car 1 star 32 17 plus 25. You take runway 33. 178 left turn is Sierra ground 17.
There's not much here.
Sierra ground 17.
There's not much there, but it was a little bit of the communication to the tower. Right here is the erratic behavior of the chopper, and I've got several complaints here, a bunch of red flags. Anomalies, if you will, whatever you want to call them. When I start to find things like this, then things just definitely ain't right. First off, if you follow me or have been following me for any time, you know that I've covered a ton of things using flight radar and sites like it to track these crashes and put up the images, the videos, and all that stuff. The Florence, which love. Well, a chopper looks like a chopper. Okay, let me just start there. If you're not familiar with this stuff, when you see a chopper on one of these sites, it's a chopper. It looks like a chopper. And they even have different shaped choppers. And different shapes for the aircraft that are like for the regular aircraft, jets, and things like that. So, this should be a chopper. Any other time, it's a chopper. You may recall...
Now, if the Black Hawk helicopter was in a flight training, then, I mean, unless if it was autonomous chopper, remote controlled, somebody might be at fault. Whether it was a pilot or alleged remote control, but also, no matter what, they're still going to throw in that DEI bullshit, you know. And that there, somebody's going to be facing some fire here. You know, they're going to lose their job, you know.
past couple months, there was a lot of activity off the coast, up the same with the drones. There was choppers all over the place, and we were tracking them, and I was screenshotting them and sharing it on X, and you could see, dude, they are choppers. Why in this one crazy instance is our chopper a plane? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I don't know if we're ever going to get an answer for that one. Glitch in the system. I don't get it. But again, I do this enough to know. So I'm going to put this in motion. You can see. Then we have the curious case of why was it. All right, now watch. This is the first near crash. Came extremely close to an aircraft there, and then a second. Almost like it tried to hit both of them. Okay? Makes an erratic move toward a third and barely misses it. I mean, an erratic move took me right at it. Just barely missed it. It's 3. And then when it gets down here, finally, it locks on to this one. The unfortunate flight that it hit. It nails it right there. That is
something's wrong here. Something's really fucked up here. Because unless if it was remote controlled, I'm saying a big if. A big if. Okay, a big if. Okay. Then somebody was fucking around. The way it looked like whoever was controlling the chopper was playing chicken. With lives, you know. And again, I'm going to blame DEI on this one. All of this. Because the reason why is, you know, we don't need this DEI shit in the first place. We don't need autonomous flying Black Hawk helicopters. We don't need that shit. What we need is some competent, qualified people. And we don't have that here. There are kids on that plane. Someone, someone's, this is, I have no words. I have no, I have no words. I have no words here. I have no words here. Children. I have no words here. I gotta. Sorry. I have to really, collect myself here. I have to really collect myself. Just, I'm a dad. I'm also an uncle and a granduncle. I take those very personally, being a dad, an uncle, and a granduncle. I'm also a brother, somebody here is going to be held responsible for this shit, Collision with AA 5342.
Look, here's joint. There's a military base, like right there.
Sorry, guys. I apologize.
You got all this action right here. All the flights on the runway, everything. Which is crazy because it's showing these planes on the ground. The last flight that I showed you, it should have started a track from the ground. It didn't, but look, see how this plane's different? See how it's got a different...
Again, the chopper was remote controlled. Allegedly supposed to be autonomous. Yeah, somebody's going to get held. Okay, now this is.
It looks like somebody hacked into the automation system, which those helicopters do have, and either hijacked it by remote control, or you had what you've seen a lot of times.
This is anonymous official channel.
Times with these Islamic pilots that'll work, for years as pilots. Then I'm just saying that's what all the experts are saying is, did the pilot have a heart attack, a stroke, and the other people didn't know how to fly it? Did somebody? And by the way, Lockheed Martin with Sikorsky, for decades they have remote control systems on these, and they've been demonstrating them everywhere. And so I see people saying, "Oh, those aren't on those aircraft." The hell they aren't. George W. Bush, like a week after or so, was in New York. It was a press conference, and he says, "Well, don't worry, we'll have a thing to stop hijacking in the future, because for a few years now, all these passenger planes in the United States have a system that allows the government or the airlines to take control remotely of aircraft.
Fox News alert, terrifying video capturing the moment a medical plane carrying 6 people, including a child patient who had just been released from Shriners Hospital in Philadelphia, plummeting from the sky last night. The plane crashed into a Philadelphia mall, spraying jet fuel across the area, leaving homes burning.
Approach to runway 24, what's going on down there?
Condition 755. We have a lost aircraft. We're not exactly sure what happened, so we're trying to figure it out. For now, the field is going to be closed, so no inbounds or outbounds probably.
I think I've watched that video over and over, maybe about 100 times already now. And the one thing that really stands out is the angle of descent. That thing is coming down, like you said, it's like a rocket. I first thought that may have been what hit Philadelphia until we realized it was an airplane. Airplanes, it's hard to do that with an airplane. As short and stubby as the wings are on a Learjet 55, you still have that ability to move forward with a plane on the most circumstances. The word catastrophic has been bandied about all night. That had to happen on board. Whether it was catastrophic engine failure in both engines, in which case you would have expected that there would have been a mayday call, but listening to the tape of the tower, there was no mayday call, or some kind of fuel exhaustion or fuel, it wouldn't have been fuel exhaustion, but it would have been fuel contamination that took both engines out at the same time. And then we get into the type of aircraft it is. It's a medevac aircraft, which has oxygen on board. My understanding that the police have found at least one oxygen tank far away from the scene. That could indicate that it came out of the aircraft while the aircraft was descending from 1,600 feet. It wasn't up that high.
Well, it was at 1,600 feet, then dropping, 2,400 feet per minute, as you said, shooting down to Earth like a rocket. You can almost see it's traveling at this high speed, full throttle, nose down. Do you see a possibility of maybe a stall, and would that result in that trajectory or no?
I agree with the other guests. I think that's highly unlikely. I think there's something much more going on before the plane starts down. It really is out of control. You can see it. You can see something venting out of the plane as it's coming down if you look closely. And then finally when it hits the ground, it makes that huge explosion. Why? Because it's full of fuel. It's starting its trip back to Springfield. And so there's a lot of fuel on board, almost 1,000 gallons of fuel. And that's going to hit. Any spark is going to create an explosion, the likes of what we saw. And yeah, there were low cloud covers, so that's going to make the explosion look even worse. But frankly, you're looking at the amount of fires in the area. That's from the airplane hitting the ground so hard that its fuel is spraying out and hitting the mall, hitting the cars that are in the vicinity. There were, I think, 3 houses also that were on fire.
So would you say that the more likely scenario is that the airplane was in a nose down, altitude with full throttles?
That's a good question. Like, what caused the plane in Philly to crash? It had medical personnel, a pediatric patient, and escort, all on board, gone.
Based on that velocity? And how could that happen?
Well,
what scenario would cause that?
Well, not necessarily full throttle, because if it's starting to fall, it's going to start picking up speed just from gravity. But what could cause it, there's a whole host of things. And as I went through my usual list of trying to figure out what could have happened normally, what do we normally see when we have an accident like this? There are so many things I couldn't check off yet because we don't know enough quite yet. We've got to get more information. It's going to be hard in this case because the aircraft itself is consumed in the fire. The NTSB is going to have their work cut out for them. One of the first things they'll do is they'll try to find the footprint of the airplane, find out where the left wing is, where the right wing is, where all these things landed, and where they land sometimes can help them determine how fast it was coming down.
This is the voice of Sal Lagonia, aviation attorney.
and how much force there was used prior to the descent that we saw.
Yeah. Well, I want to give an update. The mayor of Philly said they don't have any information on the fatalities. The mayor says everyone should stay away from the scene. She confirmed what we all know, that we lost an aircraft. We don't have any further information. If you see debris, call 911.
That's 2 crashes in 24 hours. My God.
Which I think is good advice. As I mentioned, President Trump has commented publicly on Truth Social, quote, "So sad to see the plane go down in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. More innocent souls are lost. Our people are totally engaged. First responders are already being given credit for doing a great job. More to follow. God bless you all." It's always sad to see something like this, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, and I'm glad to see President Trump is out in front of this, and Duffy is involved, Secretary Duffy. It's good to get the higher-ups out there. Be the point people. Put people on, give them some confidence in the aviation system. After the couple of days that we've just had, it's a little hard to do that, but aviation is safe. These 2 incidents are not related. These 2 incidents are very different, and when we get to the bottom of it, we will. That's what makes aviation so safe. We have the NTSB. They will give us a probable cause at some point when they can, and when they're sure of all the evidence. And that's going to make aviation even safer. We have, as aviators, we have an obligation to do that for the people after us.
Yeah, we really do. Sal, we really appreciate your time as always. Thank you for being with us.
Well, obviously Tower realized they lost the aircraft. There's previous audio of the control tower clearing them to contact Philadelphia departure, and they don't. So, and either the captain or the first officer of the medevac flight acknowledged that frequency change. So, sounded like everything was fine in the cockpit up until a couple, maybe 30, 40 seconds after that.
Yeah, we're being told that this entire scenario took place in less than a minute, which is it's hard to believe. But this is something I wanted to ask you about because of your experience with very fast jets. When you look at the video, and to the naked eye, to the average person, it looks like a missile coming to the ground at full speed. I know it's a lot to put in perspective, but when you see those videos and you see them all together, what do you see? Do you see a plane that could be at full throttle? Are there mechanical failures that you're reminded of? We showed a graphic at the beginning of the show that shows the steep angle in which it was going up, and now it's going down. Give us any insight you have there, and I know we're speculating.
Absolutely, we're speculating, but in nearly 4 decades of flying and flying fighters, that jet was simply not flying. That was a missile. That was a rocket. Clearly, something catastrophic happened, either with the airframe or the engines, to cause that. The last radar hits that I believe I saw where it was.
Let's see. DWs. Could be the weight on the plane. Could that be a factor? Could it be that someone didn't know how to fly? Or could the plane be sabotaged somehow? I don't know.
Going down at close to 11,000 feet per minute and close to about 280 knots. So clearly something catastrophic. And looking at the videos, it's on fire. There are flames leaving the aircraft. That tells me there's something catastrophic. Let me share with you something I was thinking about is as an F-18 Hornet pilot and as a civilian pilot, we own our own fighter jet for the No Fallen Heroes Foundation. Before I took off in the Hornet or my personal jet, you go to full power at the hold short or on the runway. Why? Because the engines are at the most, power at takeoff. So if anything's going to happen with a motor, it's going to happen in the first couple seconds of flight. Business jets, airliners, they don't go to the hold short and run the motors up to full power. They don't get on the runway and run the motors up to full power. Yeah. So something to think about there.
No, absolutely. I've seen that happen. So the NTSB investigators, they're preparing to examine the newly recovered black box from the Black Hawk helicopter involved in the D.C. crash just a few days ago. President Trump says the military helicopters, he thinks, were flying too high. I want to play a clip real quick of the newly minted Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on this.
The black box from the Black Hawk. When we do, we'll get a sense of internal communications. That might tell us exactly who was piloting that Black Hawk. You had a captain in training, you had a chief warrant officer too as an instructor, and then you also had a staff sergeant in that Black Hawk as well. Who was talking, who was on the comms, who was piloting, and then what, if any, confusion was there at the end, right? We're looking at altitude, and the president was clear about that. Someone was at the wrong altitude.
Yeah, we're not here to point fingers. I don't think that President Trump or Pete Hegseth are as well. But when we look at how closely military operations were happening to civilian air traffic, how common is that? Is that very common? Is it unique to D.C.? I'd love some insight on that.
Well, hitting another aircraft is never common. Around the D.C. area with all the military and civilian aircraft, it looks like controlled chaos, and it is. As long as it's controlled. If somebody doesn't do their job, bad things happen. So I got to tell you, man, Occam's razor, usually the most reasonable the most reasonable thing. Mm-hmm. They were off course. Route 4 through that corridor, they're supposed to hug the eastern side of the Potomac River. They were completely off course. They were in the middle of the Potomac. The max altitude is 200 feet on Route 4. So you're all the way over to the east. You do not go above 200 feet. But when they said, hey, traffic in sight, the wrong traffic, they might have said, hey, there's nobody around us. Maybe we can deviate a little bit for whatever reason. So there's 2 strikes right there. Off course, off altitude. Third strike is the controller. As soon as he heard traffic in sight, since he was single manning 2 positions, put a mental check mark there that said, I'm busy. They have that other traffic in sight. I'm going to focus on other things.
Yeah.
Never been to air traffic control school, but I can almost guarantee you on day 1, they tell you if you see 2 targets coming at each other on your scope, even if one of those guys said traffic in sight, give them a harder traffic call. At 25, confirm you have traffic left 11, level, acknowledge. That would have got the hair on the back of their neck and the helos standing up, and this mishap wouldn't have happened. So a couple links in this chain that if you took one of them out, this didn't happen.
Well, obviously the most impressive thing, the scariest thing is the angle that it descended at. We've seen this in another Learjet accident in Mexico. By the way, this was a Mexican registered Learjet, as you probably know, and I know the NTSB will be looking at the maintenance history as best they can with the Mexican authorities on this particular aircraft, but perhaps the stabilator, the tail, of course, controls the pitch angle, the nose up, down. If that failed or ran away, you could get this kind of descent. I guess theoretically you could have also had an engine explode, and I can't tell if it's on fire on the way down or not. Some people think it was, but that portends probably some kind of catastrophic engine failure. But again, that's what the NTSB will have to establish, and it's going to be difficult because of the condition of the wreckage.
Yeah, so when you say it was a Mexican-registered Learjet, does that mean that the jet would have been on an inspection regime as prescribed by Mexican regulators as opposed to U.S. regulators? Because my understanding is that most of these Learjets in the United States, anyway, are pretty heavily inspected equipment.
Yeah, they're supposed to follow the manufacturer's directives on maintenance and so on, but the one Learjet investigation, it was a Mexican, it was actually an American Learjet flown in Mexico, and we found out that the plane wasn't properly maintained. They may not have as good of surveillance in Mexico. I'm not saying they did. This aircraft was defective, and it's the responsibility of the Mexican.
wasn't properly checked. Wasn't properly, how you say, was not properly inspected. Wasn't properly manage any kind of checking for any faulty malfunctions in the plane. So they were flying a plane, wasn't checked, wasn't checked for any faulty parts, wiring, anything. No maintenance, no. What the fuck, dude? Or could it be made to look like it was maintained, but sabotage?
Authorities. I'm simply saying, in that other case, it was one that killed Jenny Rivera. That Learjet also fell out of the sky, and
Jenny Rivera is a Tejano singer, a Tejano singer out of Mexico. Born in the United States in Texas, but did much for singing in Mexico.
when I looked at the maintenance records, I just shook my head saying, "Oh boy." This plane, the surveillance was not very good, and in that case, the crew was not properly qualified either. But I'm not saying this is the case now. That's what the NTSB will have to sort out in future weeks and months.
Right. So obviously this comes on the heels of another tragedy in Washington, D.C. Between the American Airlines commercial flight and the Black Hawk helicopter. NTSB officials have recovered the black boxes there. What are they going to be looking for in the black box there?
Well, I think the critical thing will be the Black Hawk black box, and particularly the voice. It has both voice and data, I understand. Looks like it's in good shape. And one of the theories, and I don't want to start any speculation here, but I'll mention, I've flown with night vision goggles when I did military crash investigations. And if you are wearing night vision goggles and a bright light hits you, all of a sudden you go blind momentarily. Now remember, both the President and the Secretary of Defense have said there was an elevation problem, an altitude problem. She's not allowed to get over 200 feet. She's being supervised, and I don't think there's any way that they would intentionally climb that helicopter up to the reported altitude of 350. Now, that data comes from, not from the NTSB, but from from both Trump and from the Secretary of Defense. So if somehow a bright light, if they had the NVGs down, and that's what this voice recorder should uncover, and they were hit by a bright light, like perhaps the landing lights on the airliner, they would be momentarily blind, and they might, I'm a psychologist, there's what they call a startle response. And, if she's got her hands on the two controls, it's quite possible. That's, this is what the NTSB has got to sort out. So short answer is those recorders are going to be critical, but particularly the Black Hawk recorder and the voice segment.
This is man. I have no words. I'm lost for words. Ladies and gentlemen, I am lost for words right now. Something's wrong here. And something is really, really fucked up here. I don't know what to say. That's 2 crashes in a 24-hour period. I will bring out guys. I will bring an update to you guys later on this week, and see what I could look into, and find out myself as well. But again, I am Reverend Ordo, and this has been the Anonymous Mendawati Sect channel. Please subscribe if you're new to this channel. Hit the bell for notification. Comment below. Always live healthy, happy, and wise. I love you guys. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out. Godspeed. Buddha bless. And God bless the victims of the crash.